this video we're going to look at a nice tip for switching into effectively a wrist lock or a wrist extension position off of a standard straight armbar setup or elbow extension setup, and how we can look for a sneaky little submission in that point there, and if that doesn't work out for us, how we can switch it back to the elbow extension and effectively use it to break the grip. So wrist control pieces from here aren't utilised that much in MMA, and I personally think they should be utilised more. They're very effective ways of effectively getting someone to move or flinch or manipulate, because you get that pressure on from there, and even if you can't get the submission itself, it can make them have to change position and lead them into an alternative. When we're doing the wrist positions from here, let me show you the fun thing that we're going to look at from here. So effectively we're going to be looking at setting up a standard straight armbar from here, and when this person locks down on these arms to try and prevent it, we're going to be getting in on their wrist and then utilising some submission work here to effectively get them to either tap from this itself, or if they have to give up the grip to try and defend it, to switch back into the armbar. So when we're coming up, just come back up again for the break. So when we're coming into this submission here, one of the things you need to understand straight away is that effectively we're stretching out these tendons that run down the back of the arm. And if we bring it in this way, it can be pretty painful in itself, but these tendons effectively stretch all the way through the forearm and all the way into the fingers. So if we have the arm bent, it's more painful again than it is if it's straight, because if you can imagine that stretch going all the way through the elbow. And then if we can continue this curl, and look at the little finger here, if we can move this in towards the forearm, it's stretching that whole set out even further. So I'm always trying to look at the little finger side and effectively bring that onto the forearm from there. So then if I can knock this down and bring the little finger into the forearm here, that can make it super stretched out through these tendons, and that's where it becomes very painful, and I can get a person to move or tap. So swing around this way. Okay. So let's imagine that I've got myself into a nice position where I'm about to set up the elbow extension or straight armbar from here, and this person's locking down and trying to cover up these arms. Now this one's not particularly available to me, the far one from here, but this near one, you'd be amazed at how often you can manipulate this through. So even when they're locking down pretty tight on this, there's always good opportunities to go after this hand. Now I can do this in a bunch of different ways. So these fingers are turned out this way, I can do it this way from here, I can turn it inwards and do it this way from here. It doesn't matter as long as I can get effectively around the back of the hand and start to manipulate it. So for a second I'm going to clear this one out of the way so it's very easy to see. So we've got this hand in this position, I've got to do some digging in with my fingers and get behind the back of the hand from here. Once I get from behind the back of the hand, I'm then going to try and lock this elbow into my chest. If his elbow's free and it's wandering around, it allows him to take pressure off the hand. If I keep this elbow locked into my chest, tighten up my elbows into my sides, and then this will help me to increase the pressure. So with one hand, I'm just keeping the wrist in the right shape, in the right place, and then with the other hand, trying to manipulate the little finger in towards the forearm from there. So one to keep it straight, and then the other one to apply pressure onto the little finger from there. Bunch of different ways you can do this grip, but the principle's always the same, nice and straight, little finger pressure into the side. So come back here, Craig's locking this down, nice tight grip through your knees, controlling this anyway, the other guy's not going anywhere for a second, I've got a little bit of time to work, I'm not going to pretend this is easy, but bang, if I can sneak this under from here now, and start turning this hand, look in this instance, up and away towards his legs. Now look, if I can lock this in onto my chest, and join in with the second hand, then I can start bringing it this way. So now, this is very difficult. Craig can hang on to this and I can complete the wrist extension, and if he lets go to try and flinch his arm back out and throw it towards me to relieve the pressure, then of course I can go straight back into the elbow extension. So I'm looking for a position where whether he keeps it tight or whether he lets it out to try and relieve the pressure, I've got a submission either way. So once again, he's in here, I'm trying to manipulate my fingers inside, get to the back of the hand, lock this elbow into my chest, and then start manipulating this hand off. Little finger side, pressure on. If you flinch ears, go back to the elbow extension or try and finish with the wrist. So that's using a wrist lock or a straight wrist extension to get the person to break the grip or tap out from a straight arm bar or straight elbow extension setup position.